Hey everyone, I'm Tara Lynn Pugh, artist, mandala maker, and facilitator of the Kaleidoscope Mandala Club. Welcome to Color Palette Dot-Alongs. Today we're using the Romantica palette. The whole idea behind these color palette dot-alongs is simple. We grab a brand new color palette that we haven't used before and see where it takes us. So I don't have a preset design. There's no pressure for perfection. We just want to get into the creative flow and see if we like a new color palette. So I'll be winging it right alongside you. You can follow along with me step by step. I'll tell you what I'm doing, or feel free to wander off into your own design. Both are totally welcome here. The real goal is just to get in the flow and play with some fun, unexpected colors. If you're new to dotting, or if you enjoy creating along with someone in real time, I'd love it if you'd follow my channel and hit that like button. It truly means the world to creators like me. You can also find me on Facebook at Tara Lynn Pugh Artist. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, we're using the Romantica color palette today. So I've got antique white, I've got burnt orange, royal fuchsia, magenta, and twilight. And you can use the exact same colors or just find similar colors, and we'll see what happens. I typically do these on a 5 to 6 inch piece. Today I'm working on a heart. I've got my 16 arm stencil on here, just offset a little bit, but of course you can do this on a square, on a circle. It doesn't matter. So with that said, I guess it's time to go ahead and make our center dot. I think I'm going to start fairly small. I'm going to use 6 inches, and I'm going to use the Twilight color. Mine actually, I'm going to add a pinch of that antique white, and I'm going to stir it up because I did not stir it before I poured it out of the bottle. All right. So I added just the tiniest bit of that off-white just to lighten it a pinch. Sometimes when you're using a color up against black, especially one that's got a little transparency, a pinch of white will help. You don't have to do that, but I did. All right, so anyway, 6 inches, 6 millimeters, and Twilight is going to be our center dot. There we go. I actually really like this Twilight color from DecoArt. It's one of my favorites. It's just a really pretty deep blue. It's got a little bit of a violet tone to it, but one of my favorites for sure. All right, I'm gonna do a ring of 8 with my 2 millimeter stylus. And for that, I'm going to use the antique white. So I'm going to do a ring of 8. So I've got a 16 arm stencil, so I'm going to do every other line. I'm going to do north, south, east, west, and then halfway in between those. That will give me 8. And that was 2 millimeters with the antique white. Next, I'm going to do 3 millimeters, and I'm going to use the burnt orange. I'm going to make 8 dots. I'm going to offset them, and then I'm going to pull them into a little pin. So again, I'm going to do every other line but offset. And then I'm going to take a teeny tiny stylus and just pull that straight in between that previous row. I was a little sloppy with those, but I think I will be able to recover the design. All right, so that was 3 millimeters, 8 pins. Next, I'm going to get my 5 millimeter tool. I'm going to use the Magenta. I'm going to do 8 more pins. Again, these are going to be offset. So in between the orange, I'm going to go out to the next ring. I'm going to do a couple at a time just because it's faster. Add a little more paint on there just because I'm going to pull that. And then get my teeny tiny stylus. Because these are larger, I'm just going to teardrop them. So 5 millimeters magenta, we're going to do a ring of 8 teardrops. Just cleaning up my orange a little bit. Some of them were more teardroppy and some were more like pins, so I'm just trying to make them a little more consistent. All right. I will hold this up to the camera in just a second. All right, I am going to get my 2 millimeter tool. I'm going to go back to that antique white, and I'm going to start right beyond the orange, and I'm going to do 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get a 4mm tool. I'm going to use my Royal Fuchsia, which is the lighter of the two pinks here. And I'm going to do a ring of 16. So I'm going to do a dot on every line. And let's see, I'm going to do every other to start with. That just keeps me kind of centered. But I do want 16 of these. So that was 4mm Royal Fuchsia. I'm going to do a ring of 16, excuse me, 16 teardrops. Let's see. I think I'm going to use my 5mm. And I'm going to do Twilight. Because I'm getting up close to the edge here, I'm going to use the edge as my guideline. So that's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to make my 5mm dot, and then again just use my small stylus to teardrop these. We are going to do 16, so it ends up being every space. So these are 5mm teardrops in Twilight. Of course, because I'm working on a heart, I'm going to have to just work on one side now. But if you're doing a round piece or a square piece, you would work all the way around. All right, those were 5mm. So I'm going to go up to 8mm. I'm going to use that burnt orange. And then in the next ring, if you're doing the entire pattern, it would be 16 8mm dots. I really don't think that one would touch at all, so I'm not going to do that one. So it was 8mm in the burnt orange. What I'm going to do next with this guy is I'm going to walk the dots around those burnt orange dots. I'm going to start with 2.5mm center. I'm going to use, I'm going to use the Royal Fuchsia first. Royal Fuchsia for my center dot, 2.5mm. And then I'm going to walk the dots on each side with my 1.5mm tool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And sometimes when you are working on a weird shape, you just gotta fake it. All right. Next, I'm going to grab my 3mm tool. I'm going to use Magenta for my center dot. So that was 3mm, so I'm going to go down to 2.5mm to walk the dots on each side. So dip once, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to walk the dots around those. Pretty, pretty. All right, next I'm going to get my 8mm tool. I'm going to go to the antique white. And I'm going to do some large teardrops. So that was 8mm antique white. And then, as I said, I'm just going to teardrop these. And then I think just to finish this off, because I don't want to go too far out, I am going to walk the dots outward from these petals here. So I'm going to use Twilight and 4 millimeters to start with. So 4, and then I'm going to do a 3.5, and this is Twilight. And then I'm going to get my 3 millimeter stylus, and I'm just going to dip and walk. So dip and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then above these teardrop shapes, I'm going to use a 3.5 millimeter tool. I'm going to use this Royal Fuchsia, and I'm going to do a triple dot crown. So dip and dot, and then dip and dot. So on top of each of these, there's a little crown of 3. And this tool I'm using is about 3.5 millimeters. Now I'm going to stop the design here. This is the base of the design. I'm not going to do any more of this. I am going to grab some gold to top dot. First, I'm going to go ahead and dry this. So I'm going to mute and dry, and then I'm going to play with a little bit of gold. All right, let's see. I think, what am I going to do? I think I'm just going to play with the gold for my top dots. So here in the very center, I'm just going to dip a gold top dot. I'm using my Nouveau Crystal drops in, I think this is pale gold. think everywhere I've got a teardrop, I'm going to pull that. I'm going to place a dot, and then I'm just going to pull kind of a smaller pull right on top of it. So I'm going to dot. And then I'm just kind of pulling a swipe right down the center. In this row of fuchsia, I'm going to get my 2mm stylus, and I'm going to use magenta on top. I've got this ring of 16 teardrops in Twilight, so again, I'm just going to pull a gold swipe down each of those. So I'm going to do my dots first. My hand is unsteady today, so I'm really having trouble with these, where I normally would not. On top of those orange dots, I'm going to do a 5mm in Twilight. And I've got these large teardrops that need large swipes. And then I think up here at the very end, I'm going to use my 1.5 millimeter tool, and I'm going to add a little bit of orange on these triple dot crowns. And this will be the last thing that I do. And there you go. There is Romantica. I would love to see what you create. This is a heart. I think I'm going to display it on its side so that it sits like this. If you use this color palette, I would love it if you would share with me. You can share in my free Facebook group, Mandala Artist USA, or you can tag me on the socials at Teralyn Pugh Artist. I do these color palette dot-alongs every Friday. It's just a fun way to experiment with some new colors. So feel free to check out some of my older videos, and I will be back next week, everyone. Have a great day. Can't wait to see what you create.